Now that I have actual wings, I can fly forever! What do you mean tired after 5 minutes? My weapons didn't get tired! Hello everyone and welcome to the recent review. Today we're going to be taking a look at set number 71305, Lewa, Uniter of Jungle. The set contains approximately 79 pieces, was released in winter of 2016, and during time of release, retailed for about $15. We'll also be taking a look at set number 71300, Uxar, Creature of Jungle. The set contains approximately 89 pieces, was released in the winter of 2016, and retails for about $10. Before we begin this review, let me go ahead and get something out of the way. Just because there are pros and cons in this video does not explicitly mean that they are my personal opinions. The pros and cons featured here are meant to be objective facts about the sets or opinions from the community that I am attempting to represent here in an objective fashion. So unless I say it specifically, please do not assume it is my personal opinion. At the very end of the video, I am going to give you our personal TTV recommendation as to whether or not you should buy a set, wait on it a little bit, or don't buy it at all. Thank you, and let's get started. Starting off with Lewa, Uniter of Jungle, things are certainly different for him as well as all the others. Compared to his prior form, the most noticeable aspect is that he has gotten rid of the Keat Orange and replaced it, in fact, with mostly silver and transparent green, the apple green to be exact. Now, Lewa did not have a lot of he didn't have any transparent colors in his prior form, which he now does, which many believe to be an improvement. He also switched out his twin axes for twin tonfas, which is something people also kind of liked and then kind of didn't like. It's kind of a 50-50. Lewa's primary color is actually silver, with the highlight being green. Another addition to his color scheme, which is more prominent this time, is lime green, specifically on his torso. Something also making a returning appearance from 2002 is the Nuva symbol on his chest, and something interesting to note about Lewa is that he is the only one that has the Nuva symbol this predominant. The others are all the exact same size, and they're all much smaller than Lewa's. As far as a build is concerned, Lewa actually has quite an interesting build. Obviously enough, it is unique to him, and some would argue that it is quite a lot of fun to make. Now, as far as new pieces are concerned, Lewa does have a few. He does have the standard new parts, the new add-on piece, and this is actually silver into the apple green that we have here. He does also bring back the Vorax armor in silver, all the way from 2009, did not come in silver originally. He has the new blade piece, which is silver melded into the Green Lantern green. He also has new torso components, the pelvis, which is gunmetal, the torso beam, which is black, the piece of unification in silver, the new torso piece in silver, the new eye stalk in blue, and the new mask of jungle. He has actually two masks of jungle, one in green, melded with silver, and one that is gold melded with transparent apple green. So he does actually have quite a new complementary amounts of pieces in his standard green. As far as mobility is concerned, Lewa does technically have all the standard points of articulation, 3 in the legs, 3 in the arms, and 1 in the head. However, due to the new function, he has also 1 in the waist. Now, if you turn a gear in his lower back, then his upper body will turn side to side. Now, one of the cons to this is because of the higher friction, which there is a noticeable amount of, it will make occasionally a loud squeaking noise. Now, there are 2 fixes that I have heard of. One, you can take the pieces apart, if at all possible, and put them back together again, and the other is before you put them together, swab them with a wet Q-tip. In both instances, I have heard reports that the friction is much, much lower. There is very little friction, and it will flop around a lot more. So you're kind of choosing between one of the two. As far as mobility is concerned, the legs move pretty much fine. It's a custom build as opposed to the general standard CCBS combination. The arms are also somewhat of a unique build as well, specifically the upper shoulders. However, one of Lewa's main issues are actually his upper shoulders. Many believe them to be too close to the torso, as well as having an awkward construction. You see, his arms are actually quite short. Now, the tonfas technically do lengthen them to a degree. It's an artificial lengthening. So you're not really getting a full long arm. Not to mention the way these are constructed, you're losing out on some green because in order to get his arms to bend forward, you have to have the armor on the underside. Some people could enjoy this because it gives him kind of a feathery feel. On the other hand, it is a rather awkward arm construction and one that could be easily fixed just by rotating the armor on one other side of the arm. Another thing, speaking of the tonfas, the weaponry he has, people believe them to be quite awkward, and some to a degree boring. The weapons are actually on a blue pin, and they can spin around because of that. However, if you do have a blue pin that is not full of friction, they'll just kind of spin awkwardly in place. Now, when we got early pictures of the sets or detailed photos of these sets, a lot of people asked, well, hey look, now they have yellow axles. This is actually not an issue with the set, considering on his torso he does feature yellow to a degree, and in his prior set a shade of yellow. So yellow is actually used here as an accent color. It's not exactly tertiary or anything like that, but it is certainly an accent. One of the other things regarding Lewa is the new torso. Now, the torso is kind of a 50-50 in the community. Some like it because it harkens back to the whole Technic greebly piston feel of old Bionicle, while others feel that it is a distraction and breaks the aesthetic of the CCBS. Now, on his torso, he actually has a rather cool design. A lot of people really like it. It's quite sleek, it's symmetric, it's streamlined, and predominantly featured on his chest is his Nuva symbol, back from 2002. The main issue people have with the torso, however, instead of its actual appearance, is the color. It's silver. It makes Lewa's primary color silver instead of green. Green suddenly becomes the secondary, which is a very similar trend we saw back in 2008, 2007, and so on and so forth. So that's really the biggest issue there. Honestly, that wraps up the majority of this set. We can talk about it a little bit more later, but for now, let's go ahead and look at Uxar. Now, Uxar, the creature of jungle, after much confusion and generally trying to figure out what he was, finally is revealed to be a dragonfly. Now, he doesn't really look like one per se, but he's certainly an interesting little creature. His color scheme is actually rather consistent, primarily being composed of gray, dark gray, yellow, the transparent apple green, silver, and a little bit of Green Lantern green. Obviously enough, his primary function are his wings. You take his tail, and you move it up, and the wings will move up with it. He looks quite stunning, especially when he's backlit, because the wings are primarily transparent, along with the rest of him. His new pieces would be the new creature head, which has these kind of emblems on it, the new blade pieces, of which he has 2 of, as well as the new piece of unification. He does technically have new recolors, the claw pieces or blade pieces in dark gray, as well as the 1 Vorax armor in silver. And of course, he does have these large system wings. However, I don't know if they've been in this color before or not. So overall, he's actually quite solid. Uxar's main issues are basically his function. His function and his legs. His back legs do not have a lot of mobility, but they don't really need it. His front legs are fine, and really that's about that. His head is kind of hollow, but that's a flaw with the mold. The main issue is his function, and it's that it doesn't really hold up well. There's friction, certainly more so than Qatar. However, if you kind of jolt him down, or just leave him over time, the wings will eventually droop. They do not have the standing capacity on their own. They also will not fold any other way other than up or down because of the function. Uxar also comes with a little shadow trap. Now, I won't go into too much detail with the shadow trap. It's kind of interesting. It's got a longer tail than usual, and it also has these kind of vine things similar to what we got with Vizuna in 2015. More of an involved build than the Skull Spiders, so it is kind of interesting. Not bad. It can kind of wrap around a creature's head and toe his foot if you have to. So that pretty much wraps up Uxar. Let's go ahead and see what the 2 of them are like combined. Alright, so the first step is to go ahead and take off Lewa's standard Mask of Jungle and replace that with the Golden Mask of Jungle. Now, the mask function actually works rather well. The shorter eye stalk is not that bad as far as the function's concerned, but it does have a poorer light piping as opposed to the prior year, which already had it bad enough. So now that you have the gold mask on, go ahead and take Uxar and outsplay his legs. That way, you can get a nice clean connection. Go ahead and do that. bring his wings back a bit, and then go ahead and line up the two pinholes with the pin and the axle. And then he'll go ahead and snap the two together. It should work fine. Now, there is some controversy as to how his legs, Uxar's legs, are supposed to be. I have them splayed out as much as possible, similar to how we've seen it on promotional artwork. However, you can also take his two upper legs and bring them over Lewa's shoulders, kind of like 2015. Go ahead and place Uxar's head over Lewa's mask gently so it kind of sits there. Bring the wings forward a bit, and you are pretty much done. Now, Lewa's Unity is arguably one of the better looking ones. He has a stunning presence, especially with all of the more transparent green. It looks quite imposing and quite intimidating. The connection, thanks to Uxar's build, is actually quite solid. You're not going to have that much trouble with it. Something people may not like about this would be where to put the arms and Uxar's arms, and because of the dark gray, so some people may not be a fan of that. Also, the aforementioned Uxar's function may get in the way, so that will kind of droop down or forward or what have you. Lewa's also back heavy now, of course, because of Uxar. However, a lot of people really seem to like this Unity. It just really works. It's a great aesthetic, and it really helps with the whole he's super aerodynamic and he can fly and what have you. One of the final issues people have with it is that Uxar's head is not golden, it's actually silver, so it doesn't mesh well with the golden mask of jungle. That actually about wraps everything up. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys our personal TTV recommendation. As far as Lewa is concerned, you can probably pass on Lewa for now. He's certainly, in our opinion, one of the, if not the weakest of the $15 sets because of his arm construction. It really hinders mobility, it hinders posability, it's not well constructed, it does not even look all that great. His arms can go down, his arms are rather short. They really make a great detriment to the set. Uxar, on the other hand, we do recommend. Obviously, if you want one, you'll probably get the other, but we do recommend Uxar. He's a lot of fun, he looks great, he has a lot of character to him, he's got a solid design and color scheme. So, that has been our review of Lewa and Uxar. What do you guys think? Do you like them? Do you have them? Please let us know in the comments below or on the TTV message boards at board.ttvpodcast.com. I'm Eljay, and thanks for watching.